Congress has been hounding the Department of Justice to provide them the unredacted FISA warrant on Carter Page. But it would have been easier, it turns out, just to ask members of the national left-wing media. According to a new report in the conservative treehouse, the New York Times and the Washington Post and BuzzFeed have all been sitting on the full unredacted application since March of last year, meaning that they have not disclosed the truth, at least in that instant when it came to the FISA warrant, disclosing the truth to the public for a year. Joining us now, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton, who makes it a practice to disclose to the public what he and his organization learned. First of all, it's great to have you with us, Tom.
Hi, Lou.
First, this report in the conservative treehouse. I mean, this is stunning. And if it's sitting there, why in the world would others not have been so privileged?
Well, I don't know if they have. I don't know if that report's true. The New York Times is suing for the full FISA application. They received the warrant like Judicial Watch did in our FOIA lawsuit, and it's partially or mostly redacted. We're asking, and I know Congress is asking the president to redact more of that. We'll see. You know, sometimes the news media has documents that they sit on and don't report on, and try to get validation or verification of the documents original, whether or not they're valid or not, by asking the government for copies. But this raises another question. New York Times.
You ask it. You ask it.
Why aren't the media being questioned and held to account for the classified leaks they reported on? They know who leaked all that information about the communications the Russians were having with members of the Trump staff, classified information about spy efforts on the Trump staff, the unmasking information.
The head of security at the Senate Intelligence Committee, James Wolfe. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. What is very clear, it seems to me, Tom, is that the Congress of the United States, the leadership of both the House and the Senate, aren't really interested in helping Donald J. Trump out here. And it's now up to Donald J. Trump as President of the United States to clear the deck, because this is a clear existential threat to his presidency.
You know, when you see the reaction to the Strzok firing today, I don't see others, you know, frankly, I'm sure you agree here, Lou, is that the Strzok firing is as much about the Mueller operation as anything else. Yet members of Congress refuse to confront the implications for the Mueller operation. There would be no Mueller special counsel to investigate so-called collusion but for the machinations of Strzok and his colleagues at the top levels of the FBI. And we know this guy was corrupt. We know he had anti-Trump animus, and yet...
Have you seen the defense of Strzok on the part of CNN, on the part of other left-wing members of the national media? I mean, it's extraordinary, saying he's just simply a wayward soul who got carried away with a few texts, discounting his role in the creation of the special counsel, discounting his role as the lead investigator of Hillary Clinton in the email scandal, discounting his animus toward this president and his absolutely venomous commitment to stop this president and his administration.
You know, and if Mueller had curtailed his investigation either voluntarily and recognized there was no collusion and he was going to curtail it, you might say that maybe Mueller had learned his lessons, that Strzok was out there and was focused on getting Trump as opposed to enforcing the rule of law. But instead we have this harassing investigation that Mueller continues to pursue despite indictment after indictment of Russia-related collusion activities that have no evidence of collusion with the Trump campaign or any other American knowingly. There's nothing else to investigate by Mueller, and the Strzok firing shows that his fundamental underpinnings of the investigation were corrupted. And I don't understand, if it were any other criminal investigation, it would be shut down either by the courts or by honest prosecutors who know better.
How about
DOJ
honest judges?
And FBI are AWOL
How about
on this.
some honest judges in this judiciary system that is politically corrupt, if nothing else, that they actually stand up and say, this cannot go forward, It violates every tenet of a constitutional republic for this special counsel, with all of his conflicts, with all of his 13, now 17 angry Democrats poised to attack the president at every turn, without one scintilla of evidence of any kind of collusion or concert between his campaign and Russia. I mean, it's absurd. Why in the world isn't there an investigation of the Democrats? I mean, you watch Antifa, you watch their lust for socialism in the party. They're the ones more likely to collude with Russia and other communist nations than anyone else in the country.
To be clear, Strzok should be criminally investigated and others in the FBI for the way they conducted this investigation, the politicization of the investigation, and instead Mueller is pretending nothing went wrong. He used them for Lord knows how long. He used the Clinton DNC dossier. He used Steele, and there's no accountability there. And it can only begin, as you point out, if the courts start asking questions. But everyone under the thumb of Mueller is afraid to take him on even in the courts. Now it's up to the Justice Department and the FBI to clean house here. And it's only going to happen with pressure from the White House, the president, and Congress. And frankly, it's the American people going to be driving this bus in the end. And I just hope we get some justice here. The firing is necessary, but not sufficient. We need a criminal investigation to follow up. Look, if anyone else had done this, he would have been run out of the FBI immediately upon the discovery of those texts, and the whole thing would have been shut down.
Very quickly.
But Mueller is king of the Justice Department now, Lou, and it's got to stop.
And Tom, the president, as you well know, tweeted about Judicial Watch this weekend, and the FBI hasn't released the messages from Andrew McCabe, the former deputy director of the FBI. Could the president's intercession and the instructions to turn those over to Judicial Watch, to the FBI, to the Justice Department, how would that work? And are you hopeful that it will occur?
I'm always hopeful.
I don't mean capriciously. I mean thoughtfully and sincerely and surely.
I think this would be a relatively simple intervention by the president to order transparency, to have the FBI say, look, text messages, they're covered by FOIA. You should search for the Andrew McCabe text messages and make them available to FOIA, as Judicial Watch and other. We're not the only ones asking about text messages here. But the idea that the FBI has said text messages aren't subject to FOIA is something that the president can obviously say, no. You should apply the rule of law to Andrew McCabe's text messages and other text messages the FBI have that no one may be interested in now but will be in the future. This is the FBI trying to protect itself, trying to protect Andrew McCabe, because we know what's in there, given what happened with the Strzok Page text messages.